Right now, you're taking a look at what's moving across the radar. Our First Alert team hard at work for you this morning.
And I'm looking at how long the showers and freezing rain will be sticking around and what's coming our way.
And then I'm looking for any trouble spots this morning up in the Lumberton area. My update's just minutes away.
Plus, I'll have a check on any accidents this weather may have caused in the Grand Strand and the PD.
It's all ahead for you on WMBF News today at 5:30.
Our team coverage starts right now.
First in high definition. Live, local, late breaking. This is WMBF News today at 5:30.
And we have lots of folks right on the line between rain and freezing rain. So let's take a look at this HD Doppler radar as well as the current temperatures. 32 in Lumberton right now, dealing with a little bit of freezing rain, a little bit of a mix of just plain rain as you head along I-95 down to Florence where it's 33 degrees, so barely above freezing. But inland, Darlington checking in at 30. I just checked with Brittany, who's in Hartsville. She said she is right on that line where it turns over to freezing rain. Now closer to the coast, heavy rain at times and very gusty wind. So even though we aren't dealing with ice at the beach, your morning commute is going to be a little complicated with the reduced visibility thanks to that heavy rain and wind. So Lumberton, you'd see that rain change over to freezing rain just as you head into Lumberton on I-95, and then heading south on I-95 into Florence, just a soaking rain. Again, Darlington, freezing rain right now on 52 as you head inland to Hartsville, again right on that line. And it is going to be a tricky morning commute as temperatures inland are going to stay near freezing, hovering right at that freezing mark. And then temperatures for the beach start to fall. So areas of Marion and then into Conway, we've actually started including you in that winter weather advisory that lasts until noon today because temperatures are going to start to fall. In fact, over the last 2 hours, temperatures have gone from 57 in Conway down to 36. Guys, that is a huge temperature drop, and it's just an indication of the trend of those temperatures as we head through the morning. I'll take you hour by hour through your Tuesday to let you know what to expect coming up in just a few minutes.
Crazy trend it has been, Marla. Thank you. Our First Alert team coverage of this fickle winter weather we're having continues this morning. Meteorologist Robert Whitehurst in Lumberton for you right now. Robert, ice was certainly a possibility. What are you seeing out there right now?
Yeah, plenty of ice, really. Since we arrived late last night, the temperatures have been bouncing around 32, 33 degrees. Now seeing the ice coating the power lines, coating the trees. If you saw just a second ago, that blue flash behind me, we're seeing the trees kind of starting to sag down a bit, and some of those likely touching the power lines. The power turned off behind us for a minute, now back on again, but that is a sign of things you're going to have to deal with this morning. If there is some good news, if you notice on Interstate 95, things actually looking pretty good. DOT crew is doing a good job of keeping the roads pretty clear. Even on this side road that we're on here, it's wet, but it's not frozen yet. It does not mean there's not going to be slick spots, especially on overpasses, bridges, where the air can get underneath them, kind of cools it a little bit faster. Those are the areas you really need to watch for. And also talking about those limbs coming down, dark roads, tough to see. Certainly take it slow if you have to go out this morning. That's a look at the roads here in Lumberton. Let's send it back to the studio with Jenna. You seeing any other major issues?
We're seeing a lot of issues this morning. Really, guys, nobody's off the hook this morning. One way or another, weather is going to impact your drive. As Robert said, we are dealing with wet roads out on I-95, but the big issue is going to be the trees coming down. Watch out for those limbs. Take it slow. We have a tree down on Highway 38 at Highway 79. This is in Bennettsville. Highway Patrol is also reporting an accident on Highway 38, so I suggest if you're headed on Highway 38, you take it slow and expect some delays. Also dealing with a tree down on Edwards Road. This is off of Highway 15. Folks, as you can see, trees are going to be the issue for you this morning. Now, if you're on Grand Strand roads, you're only going to be dealing with wet roadways, but that does slow down your morning commute. So if you're headed on 17 or even out on up north, you want to watch out for this rain. I'll keep an eye on the roads and have another update for you coming up in 10 minutes, but I'm going to send it back over to David.
Jenna, thank you so much for that update as well. And a reminder to everyone out there about some school delays this morning. Scotland, Darlington, Marlborough County schools will all be on a 2-hour delay for both staff and students. In Robeson County, the public schools open 2 hours late for all students and staff as well. Robeson Community College also on a 2-hour delay.
And our team coverage right now continues in Boone, North Carolina. Raycom News Network reporter Kristen Hampton is there right now with more.
No more snow here in the western North Carolina mountains, but the roads are in pretty bad shape here in Boone, North Carolina. Almost 4 inches fell yesterday, starting at about noontime, and made a real mess of the roads. Some snow-covered slick spots, a lot of accidents in the area. But road crews have been out with the plow trucks. A lot of Department of Transportation trucks have been out throughout the evening doing a great job keeping the roads clear, expecting they'll clear up more throughout the morning as traffic volume builds. In Boone, North Carolina, I'm Kristen Hampton for the Raycom News Network.
5:35 is your time. It's going to be all hands on deck for Memorial Day weekend. Literally, police have been planning for 6 months now, and everyone is set to be on call. Katrina Helmer joins us live in the studio again with more on these efforts and the investment that the city is making.
All city employees are going to be helping out with the effort in one way or another, whether it's from trash pickup to greeting visitors to security. Police are adding more manpower at the waterfront, back streets, and high traffic areas. To help with detention services, an additional 40 officers from outside agencies will come in to help with transporting prisoners. That way, our Myrtle Beach police officers can focus on other more pressing matters. The police department also sent out requests to 102 local South Carolina agencies and 35 other agencies in Georgia, North Carolina, and Florida. So far, 24 other agencies have agreed to assist. Adding to their safety efforts, the police department is making sure they have all the right equipment to carry out their plans. So they've purchased everything from pedestrian barricades, 4 LED message boards, the Skywatch Tower, and police body cams. One of the biggest investments they're looking to make is to upgrade the city's surveillance camera system. The department has identified 200 possible locations based on previous criminal activity and traffic offenses.
The cameras are another little small piece of our operational plan for Memorial Weekend, but as you mentioned, it's not going to be just for Memorial Weekend. It's going to be put in use for all year round to enhance our safety across the city.
When it comes to those security cameras, the department is working on a final proposal and deciding on the locations and just how many cameras we could have. Live in the studio, Katrina Helmer, WMBF News.
Well, the former CEO of the Coast RTA is facing shoplifting charges. Myers Rollins was arrested Saturday afternoon. It follows Myrtle Beach police being called to the Walmart on Seaboard Street. The loss prevention officer says Rollins tried to take a cart with items that he did not pay for from the Garden Center area. The police report shows Rollins tried to take about $278 worth of merchandise. As you probably know, Rollins served as CEO of Coast RTA for nearly 10 years before being fired in April of last year.
At 5:37 right now, 5 women have now been charged with prostitution after Myrtle Beach police officers used online classified ads to meet up with them. 25-year-old Megan Headley was arrested on Friday. Investigators say an undercover officer talked with her through text messages. Then they met up and she agreed to $150 for a 1-hour session. Headley has been arrested. And a similar undercover sting has 2 more facing charges as well. 35-year-old April Wallace met with an undercover officer in an apartment complex off North Kings Highway Sunday night. Now, officials say that Wallace removed all of her clothing except for her underwear and tried to undress the officer when he finally told her he was with the Myrtle Beach Police Department. 24-year-old Jessica Coulter Wallace was arrested 2 hours later in the same area. Then Monday morning, police arrested 2 women minutes apart and charged them with loitering for the purposes of prostitution. Melissa Walker arrested at 1:55, and then at 2:09, 19-year-old Brittany Woody was arrested. This morning, the death of a man in Aynor under investigation. The 58-year-old was found on the ground behind a parked backhoe, this on a farm on Garner Road. The body was discovered last night. The Horry County coroner tells us the victim from Fairmont, North Carolina, but can't release a name until his family has been reached. An autopsy will happen later today.
Doctors at a new center in Myrtle Beach hope to take some of the added stress of traveling for treatment away from you. The Coastal Comprehensive Women's Center opened last month and will provide expert breast cancer surgery to women. The center also offers radiation treatment. The high-level service is usually about 100 miles just to receive in other cities. Dr. Randall Croshaw specializes in the evaluation and comprehensive treatment of benign and malignant breast disease.
You do see practices where someone concentrates on breast only. In doing so, certainly it offers the patient a level of expertise where typically that person is going to be much more up to date as far as what are the current studies, what are the current treatments. Typically also have more time to spend with the patient.
The center's next goal is to recruit a gynecology oncologist to specialize in more advanced cervical, ovarian, and other female cancers. Right now, that's only been available in Charleston. If you missed the open enrollment deadline to sign up for the insurance through the Affordable Care Act, it's been extended for some, that is. If it's up for those of you who ran into problems through the sign-up process and started your application before February 15th or experienced a life change. You have until this Sunday to finish up. The chief financial officer at the Grand Strand Medical Center says those who did not apply for coverage will be held accountable.
When you come to the hospital or go to a doctor, you're without any form of payment and you're on the hook for full charges, which nobody should ever be in health care.
Healthcare professionals say the penalty for not signing up could be $325 per person or 2% of a person's income when filing taxes next year.
The city of Conway has approved the first reading of a smoking ban there. It would keep you from lighting up cigarettes in parks, buildings, cars, and events on city public property and city-sponsored events. The second and final reading will be held in 2 weeks. The mayor tells us she hopes the city will end up with a workplace ordinance as well, but hopes that most employees will do that on their own. New this morning, some students who attend SC State have filed a lawsuit against the state. The lawsuit says South Carolina violated state and federal laws when it funded academic programs at other institutions that were similar to South Carolina State's. They add those funding practices led to enrollment drops at their university and ultimately to its current financial crisis state. Today, the proposal to close the university for 1 year goes before the next committee in the State House.
Also new this morning, President Obama's immigration reforms have been temporarily blocked. It follows the lawsuit from 26 states, including South Carolina, that would offer illegal migrants protection from being deported. Mr. Obama's plan would also issue work permits to as many as 5 million undocumented workers. The program's first stages were set to launch tomorrow. The federal government is expected to appeal the ruling. Well, this just in, Scotland County school districts and offices have now been closed for students and staff. And Emmanuel Christian School will be on a 2-hour delay. Classes will begin at 10 a.m. Stick with WMBF on air and online for more updates.
Controlling the safety of your home now just a swipe away. The latest on the marriage between your smartphone and your home security.
And after the current conditions get on out of here, cold snap moves in. How long it will be sticking around coming up in my First Alert forecast.
If your New Year's resolution last month was to finally get your diet under control and it hasn't happened yet, the time is now. Today at 4, one of the keys to have the best year ever starts with nutrition.